digital minimalism and why I've stopped using Instagram, as well as how some of my perceptions have shifted and changed. And I also just want to note really quick before we get into that, as many of my long-term subscribers have likely noticed, I have not posted regularly in quite a long time, and part of that is because I've moved, and where I live now is much closer to a noisy street, so I apologize in advance if there is any background noise. But one thing I'm trying to do, as I have stopped using other forms of social media, is to focus in again on YouTube, because YouTube is where I really started with any type of social media. Back in 2006, I created a different account, and I have just always loved YouTube. And so the great thing, or one of the great things about stopping the use of Instagram, is that it really has opened up a lot more time in my life for other things that I feel passionate about, and just that honestly feel comforting to me. And to go along with that, I want to get back into posting more regularly on YouTube. But for the longest time, ever since I've moved here to where I live now, something that's held me back is this sense of perfectionism and really, really wanting the audio, especially for my ASMR videos, to be as perfect as I'm able to get them. I'm by no means that skilled at creating optimal audio. My setup is really basic. It's just a Blue Yeti microphone with a couple of little tweaks on the settings. And so a lot of my approach to audio relies on starting off with a quiet environment to begin with, and then building upon that. And it's just been hard to do that. So I'm trying to release that perfectionism that's actually been kind of not good for me long term. And I'm just gonna say whatever, and if there is background noise, then there's just not much I can do about it. So I hope that is alright with you guys. Let's talk about Instagram now, and why I've stopped using it, and why I actually really want to encourage you listeners out there, and you guys listening, to also consider, stopping using it yourself. And I'll kind of go through some of my thoughts on this, and I want to take my time as well, because as a listener of unintentional ASMR myself, personally, I love long videos. I love listening to them working while they're playing, listening while driving or working out, or while stretching, or while doing chores. And the fewer times that I have to stop and pause to go find another video, the better. And so I hope that, I kind of hope this video is a little bit on the long side. And I hope you guys enjoy that, or can fall asleep to it, or something like that. Now, I stopped using Instagram, even for my business, a long while ago. It's been many, many months now. And actually, while I talk, I'm gonna just quickly glance back at my Instagram, perhaps ironically, to see when did I actually stop using it, so I can give you a more accurate time frame. So I have stopped the last post. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, I haven't looked at this in so long. So the last post that I did was April 30th of 2022, and several days later, changing algorithms of Instagram, and because I was conducting most of my business through Instagram, called Fantastic Fertility, it was becoming extremely difficult and anxiety ridden for me to continue to do this. The first several years that I was utilizing Instagram for my business, I really liked it, and it was so fun, and I found it to be really creative and interesting, and it genuinely was a good place for me to interact with other people who were using fertility awareness and to share ideas about it and content about it. And it felt like something that was good and healthy for me. It gave me an outlet to express my passion that was a bit shorter form than YouTube, and so it was interesting. And that continued for a couple years, but in 2020, with the advent of the pandemic and a lot of the social unrest that followed throughout that time, it went from being this thing that felt like a small community and a small safe haven for me, and it turned into this massive source of stress that felt like on like a global scale, where I was just taking in so much information, so much of other people's random opinions and content that I frankly had no interest in and had never even looked up or anything like that, that was just being shown to me by the changing Instagram algorithm, and I just began to feel incredibly overwhelmed. And so I tried to push through, I tried to understand how Reels worked. I tried to work within that for a long time. I guess over 2 years, and it was no longer enjoyable during that time. So long story short, when I finally got COVID, that was my permission, that I felt like I could give myself to truly just say, okay, I need to stop, I need to just get off this, and I'm just gonna lay low for a while until I heal. And so it took me like a month to heal. And during that time, I don't think I posted at all. I didn't look at the app barely at all. I uninstalled it from my phone completely, which was such a relief and such a weight off of me, which was a big clue of what was to come. And then I honestly just, I felt so much better physically because of my neuroplastic perceived danger pain condition that I have, and with less signals coming into me that felt like overwhelming and anxiety ridden and fearful and threatening, the better I felt. And I just felt this sense of more freedom. So months went by, and I was really trying to consider do I try to continue? Do I go back? What do I do? And I finally just totally decided against it. And in August, toward the end of August, I just let people know at that point, hey, I'm gonna be stopping the use of Instagram. So I totally uninstalled it. I felt really good, and I've continued to feel really good compared to how I was. Really ever since then, I have absolutely no regrets about stopping the use of Instagram, and I'm just kind of here to encourage anyone out there who may be considering it to really just go for it. And I just want to encourage you to completely go for it, and I'm giving you permission right now to just totally go for it, especially if you don't have a business was because of my business. If it weren't for that, I would have stopped using it so long ago. But even for those who do have a business, there's absolutely lots of other ways to make connections with people and, have a presence aside from Instagram. But anyway, I just want to encourage you guys, again, if you've been considering it, to just totally go for it. I won't even encourage you to take a break for a day or take a break for a weekend or whatever else a lot of other people recommend. I've seen so many people say oh, just take a break for 30 days and go back to it and then see how you feel. And I just feel why? Why play that game with yourself? You probably have felt the impact that it's had on you psychologically and even physically. And you've probably thought a lot about, stopping use of it. And I'm just here today to tell you, yeah, you can just totally stop using it and it'll be completely fine. You don't need to go back to it. You don't need to try it out for a week. You can actually open up your phone, uninstall the app, and just not look at it again. And I guarantee you, you'll notice a lot of positive impacts. And so I wanted to really talk about this because it's something that I've noticed such positive impacts from since April, I guess. And I just feel so excited about that. And I wanted to really relay that to other people. Because I have a really pretty small social circle, and I feel like I've already talked about this with the people that I'm close with, and I really want to continue to urge others to consider it. And so if you come across this video, please just give it a try. And on that note, some action steps that you can consider are to, again, simply uninstall the app from your phone, or if you have a desktop app, just go ahead and uninstall that. You don't necessarily need to deactivate your entire account, although you could if you want. There's no one to stop you. And one thing you could also consider, if you really are having trouble giving yourself that permission to let it go, is you can, of course, routine your account and just make a little short list of literally 3 accounts that you might go back to visit from time to time, in your actual web browser. And this is something that I still do, where literally all I use Instagram for is twice a week I might go specifically to the Curable Health page, or Ellen T. Gordon's account, or the Gottman Institute account. And those are kind of my top 3 educational resource accounts that I'll still visit. But in no way is it submitting to any type of social pressures or influence, or in doing this, I'm not looking at any advertisements. I'm not going to the explore page on the app or anything like that. And it just feels a lot more within my control to go to these learning resources and spend literally 1 minute looking at the latest post. I'll read it and then I'll move on and close my browser. So for me, that's been a good balance, where I'm absolutely not using the app at all. And I'm trying to spend as little time as humanly possible just visiting these 2 or 3 to the app to have an additional safeguard in place to stop and kind of interrupt your use of it, and like a habit or a pattern that you may have, which, by the way, is not your fault at all. I mean, these apps, many social media apps, but Instagram and Facebook specifically, they're literally designed to be as addictive as possible. TikTok as well. And this isn't something that that I have like a hunch about. This isn't anything that I'm like, sugarcoating or exaggerating or anything like that. Like, literally, the designers of these apps, the several like men in charge of designing these apps, working in Silicon Valley, their entire goal is to maintain your focus and your time spent on the app for as long as possible to, expose your eyes to more advertisers. That's the way that they make money off of these apps, is through advertising. And it is really manipulative, and it's designed to be as addictive as possible, and seemingly at every turn they have chosen to go the addictive route, with these different features within the apps and things like that. And it's really unhealthy, and it can take you in if you're not careful. So again, if you found yourself, scrolling and feeling like numb and detached or overwhelmed or overstimulated, again, it's not your fault. They're designed to be as addictive as possible. But what is within your control, is you can uninstall it and not use it and not expose yourself to that overstimulation anymore. So I just really encourage it. Some things for me that kind of built up to this as well, in addition to what I shared before, I actually made like a little list because there were so many negatives that were really impacting me, and I'll try to go through them quickly so as not to bring down the whole vibe of this video, but I do think that they're important to recognize and point out in case you've noticed just something feeling off, but you're like unable to put your finger on what exactly is feeling off about using Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So in no particular order, I noticed, and I noticed this also with other people that I interact with too, who still continue to use the apps, and it really is put into stark perspective, like when you stop using it, but then you're around other people who still do use it, how obvious these impacts are. And so things like decreased focus and decreased attention span is a big one. Too much time spent scrolling, like literal hours of just completely wasted, like unproductive and uncreative time that is just gone. And your time is really, really valuable as a person. You have time in this world to spend in ways that you, that feel right to you. And I just think that we often sort of trick ourselves into thinking that, spending a few minutes on the app, like, isn't a big deal. It's kind of soothing, things like that. But, and perhaps it might be, like, if I can totally understand if you're, like, looking at photos of, like, kittens playing or, like, puppies or something, like, being silly. Like, I'm all for that. I think that can be a great source of joy. But the problem is that woven into those 20-second reels or shorts or whatever is all these advertisements, and it's just like the net effect is a lot of wasted time and social isolation apart from others. Self-comparison is also a really toxic thing that can come up. For me, that was really huge because I have a business. Again, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal for me if I was just using the app like as a typical person, a typical user. But because I had a business, it's constantly emphasized the importance of like paying attention to your metrics and your analytics, and again, you're like pressured by all these like Instagram coaches and strategists and brand experts and marketers that like drill into you the idea that like you need to be doing Instagram in a certain way to please the algorithm. And what's so depressing about it is like I tried for a long time to do that, and I put in so much time and effort and work, and it didn't make a difference, like at all. Like I was doing so much less work several years ago and having way more like genuine connections and interactions with potential clients and clients, and it felt good. And I don't know what precisely changed, but I'm sure somewhere along the line with them tweaking the algorithm and the way that the app functions, it just it just stopped. Like my growth on the app stopped within the past like 3 years. I've basically maintained the same number of followers, and it was so frustrating to feel like I'm constantly working and putting in all this effort for like very little payoff. And in terms of a business, like, and the way that I make my livelihood and the income that I need to like feed myself and pay my bills, it became really demoralizing and depressing, and it was just so frustrating. And so that was a big one. And the self-comparison with other similar accounts was like just again becoming really toxic. So another aspect of that is also the need for like perceived social approval and validation from people who really aren't even your friends. They're strangers who you really don't know in real life. You don't really communicate with them outside of Instagram. And I think that people who are your actual friends, you will go the extra mile to message outside of these apps, and you will go the extra mile to do video calls with them and visit them. And those are the types of people who you want to actually spend your time with, quality time, to build relationships over time, as opposed to these like transactional and really shallow relationships through these apps. So that was a big one that I found sneaking up on me again, because it went hand in hand with the business approach that I had to do for my account. And again, so much of this I think impacted me incredibly, like deeply, because of my business. I think if I was just a typical user, it may not have gotten to me this much, but I feel like I've experienced the extreme end of it, and I don't want others to continue to like subject themselves to it, even at a lesser extent. So yeah, that's just how I feel. Another impact was like the near constant influence of advertisers, whether it's from actual paid ads or like influencers. It just felt like everyone was constantly urging you to buy something right now. speak to this again as a business owner. Like, I get it. Like, I understand creating a sense of urgency, and I understand that strategy, but I also don't really agree with it. And I think for me, it's more about that, like, I have a skill that I know other people need, and I know other people want to learn. And so the way I look at it is, how can I actually make a genuine, real connection with a person and teach them this life skill, and relay these messages to them. It's not about like these tactics and strategies that are pushed on you. And I just learned that, like, over time, there is a way to do it that is outside of these like pressures. And so along with that, I was experiencing like a lot of anxiety and depression for a long time before I decided to stop utilizing Instagram. And a lot of it was, I won't assign all of my life problems to Instagram, of course, but a lot of it in my day-to-day life was related to that because of my business and needing to go check on it and blah, blah, blah. And I just needed to really take a step back. So I already talked about this before, but again, the feeling of pressure to keep up with this ever-changing and highly addictive algorithm that was designed to be highly addictive. It inherently rewards and it inherently rewards and prioritizes content that is polarizing and scary and depressing, because that's the type of content that is sensationalized, and typically gives people's attention spans for a longer period of time. Also, I just want to note, like, I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this. One moment, I'm sorry for this. Okay. But yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way, but I feel like so many TikTok trends that then extend themselves to, Instagram and YouTube and stuff are just so dumb. Like, I'm just gonna say it, they're so stupid and dumb. And I'm sorry if, I don't know if that's like an unpopular opinion, but I just really feel like many of them are like so pointless. And again, I'm all for like joyful content, like animals and content that's like positive and things like that, but so much of it is just a lot of narcissistic, self-indulgent trends that have no point and are also like overly I don't know, there's just so many that like ask really personal questions, and I don't know, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. So I won't ramble about that further, but yeah, I just don't get it. So aside from all that, I was also feeling, again because of my perceived danger, pain, and symptom thing, I was noticing so many more sensations, like physically in my body, because of these perceived dangers and anxieties and threats to my safety. And when I say that, I don't mean that anyone was personally threatening me. I just mean that when you addition of perceived danger pain, like things that, I'll put it this way, like, I think what is more common is for a lot of people when they feel anxious, maybe they get like a pit in their stomach, right? Or like, maybe like your heartbeat raises, or you feel like you just feel this sense of anxiety. Well, for me, the way my nervous system is attuned right now is my nervous system sort of like bypasses those things, and it goes straight to like sensations that are really uncomfortable or painful. And I'm learning through education about the nervous system and modern day brain and pain science and therapy and Curable and Dan Buglio's YouTube channel and all these excellent resources. I am actively unlearning these patterns, and I'm actively rewiring my nervous system over time. But it takes time. It takes, for many people, months of this consistent work to unwind those stress responses and those trauma triggers. And so, like, again, throughout 2020 and the couple years to follow, social media was just loaded with that type of content. And so for me, it really had a big physical impact. In addition to the psychological feelings of feeling numb or detached or overstimulated, overwhelmed, like on hyper alert, feeling sort of shut down and kind of overexposed to like other people's thoughts and opinions, like, person after person after person after person, just scrolling and scrolling, and quickly becomes a lot. And with that constant scrolling, you often put down your phone and just feel so like unfocused and confused and cloudy and like less able to think clearly for yourself. And I know that this is really common because I've seen other people talk about it countless times. And I don't think that, again, we need to be experiencing that. And then lastly, a sense of just feeling like watched by people and unsafe because of that. And I really did not like that. I don't like that. It's one thing if I'm putting out content, but with intention, but I just grew to dislike that feeling like continuously like watched and like on edge about needing to post or needing to do this or that, and it just became something that I needed to stop. So I want to go back to the positive action steps that I want to share with you. So again, in addition to uninstalling Instagram from your phone or devices, and maybe making a short, like 1 to 3 account little list of educational things to check in with from time to time, and considering Blocksite or another blocker to prevent, use of Instagram through a browser or something. I'd also really recommend watching The Social Dilemma. I'd recommend watching a lot of other YouTubers and people who talk about this topic of digital minimalism and stopping the use of social media. And like, I simply guarantee you that you'll come across dozens of people who have all said that stopping use of social media has like only improved their lives and created more time for them to embrace slower living and embrace more time spent on their own self-care and work and hobbies and things that really bring meaning to your daily life. So for me, this has all manifested by more time spent working out and moving my body, which for me, as I rewire my nervous system and my brain to like, not be myself that time to take care of myself and to work out has been so important. I've also spent a lot more time reading and learning and listening to audiobooks and podcasts and things that add more value and understanding and learning to my life, as well as just like pure joy. Like, one thing I've loved is listening to the podcast Taken Cheryl True Story. It's a comedy podcast about documentaries, and it is so funny. If you listen to it, please comment below, because I just need to know that others are also enjoying it. But it's with Tig Notaro and Cheryl Hines from Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it is just so funny. I can't get enough of it, and like, the episodes really help me to calm down. It's like the feeling of relaxation that you get from ASMR, but for me it doesn't give me any sense of ASMR. It just is simply a sense of like calm and happiness and laughter and joy, and I love that. So I've been able to spend more time on hobbies, like right now, me making this ASMR video, which for so long I could not do because I was, again, spending way too much time on these other wastes of time, like Instagram. Spending more time on personal projects has been another benefit. Like I said before, connecting in real life with friends and loved ones. That has been amazing, and something that I've like really tried to be a lot more intentional about. And also just spending more quality time, like, training and playing with Osage, and like holding him and giving him treats and playing with a feather toy. And that may seem silly, but cats actually really need a lot more attention than people assume, and I try daily to actually devote like at least 15 to 30 minutes purely of playtime with Osage to like give him exercise and strengthen our bond. And I absolutely love my cat, and like, I'll be damned if I spend too much time looking at screens of cats, with a cat on the screen, as opposed to actually playing with and holding and petting the actual like cat that I live with and spend time with. He's asleep right now, by the way. I'm looking at him. And by the way, just a total sidebar, I do plan on making a video again with him soon, hopefully with lots of petting and brushing and purring, so you can look forward to that at some point. But to move on from Osage, as much as I love to talk about him, some more important takeaways that I want people to understand and consider is, again, that social media is intentionally designed to be really as addictive as possible. It's not your fault if you are facing that, but you can change it. You're not like locked in to this pattern at all. Even if you're someone who's young and you've grown up with social media your whole life, like, if you're telling yourself the narrative that that's just how things are, I'm telling you right now, you need to let go of that and face reality, which is that you absolutely can have more free time. You can let yourself be bored, and through that boredom comes creativity and connection, and I'm just telling you, it's way better than wasted time, being overly anxious on social media. Now, the impact of this addictive social media design on our nervous systems is, again, it's the vast majority of the time, it's toxic, it's unhealthy, and it can even be traumatic if you're like overexposing yourself to these triggers. So embrace more free time, embrace more laughter and joy and enjoyment and connection. Embrace more time spent on hobbies. Another one for me, in addition to ASMR, has also been backyard birding. Another topic that I'm going to make a video about as well, that weirdly I've already filmed, but I need to get the clips onto my computer and actually edit it, so eventually you'll have a video about summer backyard birding, probably in the late fall. Oh well. But you'll be able to, spend more time thinking clearly for yourself, increased feelings of calm and joy and safety, feelings of safety in your own body and in your own mind. I just can't stress how important that is to help minimize stress and reduce stress. So please embrace it. Embracing slower living, again, in that sense of boredom. Embracing better sleep quality by reduced screen time, and less stress about needing to compulsively check screens, and also by extension less teeth grinding overnight. This is something that I dealt with for a couple years during the pandemic as well due to stress, was teeth grinding. It was new to me. I did not love it. Had to get several night guards and use mouth tape and all this stuff, but teeth grinding is literally a direct symptom of stress, and you have the ability to significantly reduce your stress intake by reducing time spent on social media. So I've talked a lot about Instagram. Before I get to the end of this video, I want to also touch upon other platforms like YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. So let's start with Twitter. Now I did have a Twitter account during the pandemic for a little over a year and a half, where I really only ever shared photos. I never liked the I don't know, I've never really liked the quick-witted snippy banter of Twitter. I was not there for that. I was really only there because Twitter's guidelines, it was basically the only platform where I was allowed to post naturism content, and I would do that pretty infrequently. But after stopping Instagram, I still continued with it for a while, but eventually I just totally decided against it, and I was like, again, I don't need to be doing this, I'm simply gonna stop. And so I just deactivated my account with Twitter. So I really, again, never was super into it, so I can't speak to the addiction side of that for Twitter, but I know for a lot of people, Twitter is one of the most polarizing places online. So yeah, I just urge anyone to please consider letting it go. Now with Facebook, this is something that I haven't used for years very much. Literally the only thing I continue to use it for is I do have a Facebook group specifically for my business clients, which again I really only interact with once a week through my business, and for me it really doesn't pose any semblance of addiction, and so for me it's truly no worries, and I only access it on my computer as well. It's not installed on my phone whatsoever. TikTok, I have always, from day one, even just hearing about TikTok, I straight up never liked it. I still don't like it. I'm never gonna use it. I've never installed it. And I see the impact again of super short form content on even when people say like, oh, well, I use it as part of my business to like educate people, I feel strongly even against that, because I often feel like it goes by way too fast to actually like read the captions or like take in information, and it just, I just, it's okay, it's like any feeling I had toward Instagram, multiply that by like 10, and those are my feelings for TikTok. Like, I want nothing to do with it. What's actually kind of funny is, for the longest time, people were actually encouraging me to try TikTok. They were like, oh, you should try it for your business, you'll get so much more exposure, blah blah blah. And I just felt like, what are you talking about? Like, I never ever want to engage with TikTok. Like, I just could see so obviously and so blatantly, like, this is like, it's a total like addiction machine. Like, it just comes up with things that are highly attuned to your specific interests with an algorithm, and I truly want nothing to do with it. So that's my thoughts on TikTok. Now let's get to YouTube, because of course here we are on YouTube, right? Now with YouTube, I've always felt from day one with YouTube, and I've had an account since 2006, probably even before I had a Facebook. And I've always felt that YouTube is more like long form entertainment and education, more along the lines of like a streaming service like Netflix or something. So for me, YouTube has always been a less social place, meaning like I literally have no like friends on YouTube. I don't know a single other friend in my real life who's on YouTube or who has a YouTube account that I can think of. And so for me, there's absolutely no sense of like competition or self-comparison or anything like that, and I don't feel a pressure in terms of like my business to appease an algorithm or something. And I just feel like it's always been a safer space for me because of the ASMR community and being able to express myself in a much more like long form, calm manner, where I can actually take the time to talk things out and explain myself and share my thoughts and share a skill that I can teach people, or share a recipe or something in such a way that is just purely wanting to connect with others, in the sense of just like sharing about topics. Again, like, I can't really name a single friend that I've made on YouTube. I feel that by sharing my videos, I'm able to connect in sort of like a vague, like parasocial relationship with those who view my videos. And I appreciate everyone who takes the time to do that, but I also know that, you know, for many people, it is a source of relaxation and a chance to simply be calm, and it's not necessarily like about friendship building, if that makes sense. So, I don't know, for me, I just always have felt like YouTube is a whole different type of thing. It's more like a search engine to me, honestly. It's more akin to like looking up something on Google, like, and yeah, I will leave comments occasionally on people's content, but again, it's usually just to say like, hey, like, thank you for posting this. I love Lord of the Rings, or like, I love this recipe, or like, I appreciate this format for ASMR, or something like that, where I'm just expressing myself in a way that, again, doesn't feel competitive. It doesn't feel like there's judgment. And I also, of course, love YouTube just to look up like fun things, like clips of Community, or clips of like Arrested Development, or always just had a totally different vibe than any other social media platform. And I feel like I'm much more able to control the time that I spend on YouTube, because I can save things to my watch later playlist if I, don't want to spend a certain amount of time on YouTube at the moment. And then later, when I'm like trying to fall asleep, or I'm like in the car or something and I want to listen to something to learn about it, that's when I can watch the video. And it's not as, there's not as much of a pressure. So, on that note, everyone, I do hope that you've, gotten something out of this. If you would like to subscribe because you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please do. If you'd like to turn on notifications, go for it. Or don't let me tell you what to do. Because, again, I've just spent like an hour trying to tell you to spend less time on social media, so, please look within yourself and decide what you want to do in terms of subscribing. Anyway, I am gonna wind it down. I hope that this has found you well whenever you get the chance to listen to this, day or night. And I guess that's it, you guys. I really would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. So go for it if you choose to share. Again, or not, if you're looking to spend less time on YouTube. So I support you. I believe in you. And I hope that if you're someone who's been considering stopping use of Instagram, please, I beg you, just straight up go and uninstall the app right now, and I will be so proud. Okay, guys, I'm gonna officially stop rambling right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.